High capacity 22 pistol comparison. Let's check it out. Guys, for many years in semi-automatic 22 pistols, 10 rounds was pretty much the maximum. A lot of that had to do with the rim of the cartridge and the way it fit in the magazine. Then Taurus introduced their TX22, which went up to 16 rounds, and it was very reliable and just a great little handgun. It's become very popular. And from that time, there have been others that have followed suit, even going up to 20-25 rounds. We're going to take a look at the top 4 high-capacity 22 long rifle pistols. We're going to look at some differences and some common features. But guys, for a little 22 with 16 or 20 rounds, gives you a lot of firepower. And guys, honestly, 22 long rifle is inexpensive. It's a pleasure to shoot, very little recoil, very little report. And so it makes it one of those handguns that's great for first-time shooters, but also is great for hunting, plinking, and honestly, it can be used for self-defense. And it's something that really we should all have in our collection. All right guys, here we have 4 of the highest capacity 22 long rifle pistols that are currently on the market. I know that the Kel-Tec CP33 has a 33 round mag capacity, but it is fairly large. It's very unorthodox and I don't have one. All right guys, one that I did miss is the FN 502 Tactical. Now this is the standard 502 and it's based on the model 509. It's a 22 version, but the Tactical has a 15 round magazine capacity. The standard 502 is a 10 round. And so here we have the Tactical. You can see that it has the threaded barrel, it has the extended magazine, and you can put that magazine with your standard 502. So for the Tactical, I don't have one, but I definitely wanted to mention it because it does fit in the high capacity category. So outside of that, these to me are the top 4 contenders. And really what got it started was the Taurus TX22. And it came in with a 16 round mag capacity, and that was really unheard of. Traditionally, it's 10 rounds. We'll kind of talk about that and why most pistols that are 22 long rifle are 10 rounds. And then came the P17 by Kel-Tec. It also has a 16 round magazine, but then one in the chamber, so P17. Then we have the SIG P322, which has a 20 round capacity. And it was the first one to kind of breach that 16 round. And then Smith & Wesson came out with their M&P 22X. They've had a number of different 22s, but this is the first time you have a higher capacity of 20 rounds. And guys, all 4 of these have threaded barrels, and you can take off the thread protector and put on a thread adapter, and you can shoot suppressors. So first, let's talk about the similarities. We have aluminum alloy slides on all of them, even the Kel-Tec, even though it is much abbreviated. And the Kel-Tec definitely stands out for a lot of reasons. We do have Picatinny rails on all 4, ambidextrous safeties, and we have mag releases that can be switched except for the Kel-Tec, which has the paddle mag release. All 4 have threaded barrels. And so that allows you to go ahead and shoot with a suppressor, and really that's a great option. But what I love is you have to actually put an adapter on it. I have a number of handguns now that have the threaded barrel sticking out, which works good, especially with centerfire. But if I just want to take it out and shoot, I don't always want a threaded barrel. So I really like that feature. All four have pretty close to a 4-inch barrel. Now the Kel-Tec goes down to 3.8, but still, that's pretty close to a 4-inch barrel. And all four do shoot .22 long rifle. And guys, honestly, during all the reviews we've done and with the current shooting that we did just to do the comparison, these have been all just very reliable. I will say again, whatever ammunition you choose, you need to go out and test it and find the right ammunition. But overall, we've been using standard velocity Fiocchi and it works fantastic. Now, what are some differences? Well, first off, we have two that have 20 round mag capacity. And actually, the SIG does have an additional 25 round magazine available. When it comes to the Taurus, you can get a 20 round extension. It's going to hang off the bottom, but 16 and 16 rounds. The Kel-Tec is the smallest, it is the lightest, and it has a pretty decent trigger. But it definitely is different with the slide configuration and a lot of the polymer, but that is what makes it so light. To me, this is a great gun to put in a backpack. It's so easy to carry. The texturing is very similar on these three, but on the Kel-Tec we do have those squares and those shapes, but it tends to work very well, and again, with that low recoil of your .22. You have a flat face trigger on the Smith, a flat face trigger on the SIG, even though you can use that shoe. These three handguns are pretty much full size. You know, if you bring them out, they're gonna be pretty much just like your standard full-size handgun. I will say that the Taurus and the SIG have a little bit of a thicker slide, while the Smith & Wesson has a very thin slide, along with the Kel-Tec. These are super thin and super easy, but it's not really that much difference. Now, because these are .22 long rifle, we're gonna start with the lightest gun out, and this is the Kel-Tec. It is 12.76 ounces. Next is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22X, 17.8 ounces. Next we're going with the Taurus TX22, 17.46 ounces. I mean, it is right there with the Smith & Wesson. And then we have the SIG P322, 17.35 ounces. So these are all very light handguns, but the Kel-Tec really comes in as the lightest. Now we're going to look at trigger pull, and with .22 you shouldn't dry fire a lot, but it doesn't hurt once in a while. So we're getting a wall here, and there's a little bit of creep, and then a nice little break. And reset comes out pretty good, and it's not really very little tactile feel to it, and very little audible. But honestly, when shooting this at the range, it has a pretty decent trigger to it. When it comes to the Taurus, we have just a take up to pretty much a wall of resistance. And then not a bad break, but it's not very smooth coming in. Reset right there. Reset's really quick. Now we have the SIG, got that flat face trigger. So we're going to bring it to a wall of 90 degrees. And not a bad break. A little resistance before the break. And then reset right there. It comes out just a little bit. And then the Smith & Wesson. Right here to a wall. Nice break. I'll have to say that the Smith & Wesson has the best trigger so far. Right there. Resets really quick. I like the Smith & Wesson trigger pull. Well, a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And their .22 long rifle is just excellent, but their high velocity really performs very well. And of course, with all these mags, we've got a lot of shooting to do. It's a great thing they have these tabs on some of these. Makes it a lot easier. Now, when it comes to Smith & Wesson, you have these little wings, and they're little bars, and you can just pull it down, drop in your round. They go in very easily. And then even when it gets to the top, and when you get all the way full, you have to take that last round and push it down in, but honestly, it's not a big deal. And when it comes to SIG mag, we have these little circles, and so we can bring the disc down fairly easy, just drop them in, I would say it has a little more opening even than the Smith. One thing about it, when you get to the very end again, you've got to take, pull down, and you'll just barely fit that last round in, but it will work. And we haven't had any malfunctions. When it comes to the Taurus mag, they also have the little disc. You just pull down. It's a little tougher to get down. One thing I also noticed is the way that the entrance for your ammunition, it almost catches right here. So you have to get it just right to be able to drop it in. Now that may be better to hold it into place and keep those rounds going in the right direction. But I just happen to notice it seems like a little more. When it comes to the Kel-Tec mag, there's no assist for loading the magazine. So you have to just put them in and push down. And then the next round, you got to hold it and push down. This is definitely the hardest out of the 4, but it's not that much difficult. I mean, it goes in pretty easily. You just have to slide it in like you do a lot of other magazines. Guys, we have the 22 high capacity pistols. Again, the Kel-Tec, we're going to start out with mainly because it's the lightest and it's the cheapest out of the bunch. It holds a 16+1, gives it P17. I do like the trigger in this one. It has a very smooth trigger. You do have your pick rail. I like the fiber optic front sight. We've had no malfunctions whatsoever, even when I did my full review. This is a super light, more of compact out of all the others. It's got a shorter grip, yet it's got a full grip. And while it's really thin, it has thickness here. Shoots very well. The fiber optic sight shows up great. It is not optics ready, but again, it does have a pick rail, and we could put a suppressor on it. Next is the Taurus TX22. This is the original. I do have the competitive models as well, but this one has a 16+1. A little bit more enclosed ejector, but we've not had any malfunction. These have been extremely popular. A lot of it has to do with the price. It's the second on the list. Weighs a little heavier than the Smith. So this is really, the SIG is the most heavy. The trigger on this one is my least favorite though. It's got a little bit of just swing to it. I don't know, it just has a little more going on. Yet it's a decent trigger. Don't get me wrong, all of these have really good triggers, but to me this is the least of the really crisp triggers. Now you might get into the competitive side, it might be a little better, but overall it does have a nice break. It has these cuts, and actually they make a great place just to put your index finger, your shooting finger, or your thumb when you're shooting. Next we have the SIG, the P322, optics ready, rails, fiber optic front and back. So this gives you a lot of options. It has that more full-size grip. It has 20+1. I like the trigger on this one. Those sights really show up well. On the takedown lever, you have a little bit of a thumb rest where you can just kind of set your thumb and it makes it just give you a little more stability. Then we have the Smith & Wesson, the M&P 22X, 20+1, optics ready, fiber optic front, rail here, very smooth slide. All of these really are very smooth with the alloy slides. It does kind of come down and it hangs out a little more than the SIG, but it gives you a lot of control over it. Yeah, trigger, I love the reset. I can feel the reset. It has the trigger safety, so it's got more of a flat face trigger, very much like the SIG. This to me is the best trigger. It's the third lightest of the bunch. The Kel-Tec comes in at the most light, compact weight. It's a lot more lightweight because of just a lot of the polymer. But overall, I mean, I like the trigger better. It's a full size, and the reset is really good. So we're going to start out again with the Smith & Wesson. Now I was going to shoot 5 rounds. The rounds after that are the extra rounds above the other lower capacity. And then we have the SIG. Taurus. We were one short, but this really is a very nice shooting handgun. And with Kel-Tec. Guys, all of these are reliable. They've been extremely reliable. The trigger's a little bit of difference. Really, the trigger on the Kel-Tec's nice. Again, to me, the Smith & Wesson is number 1. Then we go down to the SIG, and then the Kel-Tec, and it may match the SIG. And then the Taurus, but again, it's not a deal breaker. It's still smooth. It just doesn't have quite the refinement of the others. Overall, honestly, all 4 of these are just excellent handguns. It mainly has to do with a little more weight to it, a little better trigger, maybe the sights, optics ready. I mean, there are some differences. And then, of course, with the SIG and the Smith, the price is considerably higher than the Taurus, and then definitely more than the Kel-Tec. And guys, usually at the end of my range time, I show accuracy. But when you have 4 handguns and you've been down there all day, I knew there would be a margin of error. So I want to refer you back to the full reviews. Each of these have full reviews. I'll have them annotated during the video, but also I'll have them linked down below in the description. But to be honest, these are very accurate little .22 pistols, and with that fixed barrel design, it lends to good accuracy. Let's compare the ease of disassembly. And we're going to start out with the Smith & Wesson. Check the chamber. The gun is empty. Bring it back into slide lock. Bring your lever down, and then bring your slide all the way back and lift up. Now these are fixed barrel designs. Here is your recoil spring and guide rod, and it goes in just one way. But typically your fixed barrel is going to give you really good accuracy. You can see the internal hammer. And so I just wanted to give you an inside look. And then for reassembly, we're just going to go ahead and put our recoil spring and guide rod back in. Take your barrel, bring it all the way back and drop it down on the frame, and then engage your slide stop, and then bring up your lever, and then we can release it, and we're back in business. For the SIG, drop our magazine, check the chamber. Now let's go ahead, and again, we're going to bring it into slide lock. We're going to push up our lever, and then release the slide and bring it up. And again, same thing, very similar to the Smith & Wesson, except that we have a recoil spring right here that's in the barrel or on the barrel. If you take off your thread protector right here, you will be able to remove the recoil spring. So we're not going to do that, but it's easy enough. It has flats and you can just turn it. But same thing, internal hammer, a little different look to it, but pretty much the same idea, the same design. And for reassembly, we're just going to bring back our slide, bring it over until you get it to those notches, and then we're going to just go ahead and engage our slide stop. Bring that lever down, release your slide stop, and we're good to go. Now for the Taurus TX22, we're going to drop our magazine, again check the chamber. Now this is a little bit different. We do pull the trigger. Once you pull it, just pull down on your takedown tabs, and the slide actually goes forward. So you'll go a little forward and then you'll just lift up. Make sure that you don't have it leaned over to fall over. Don't ask me how I know. There are the slots right here that correspond with your slide rails. A little bit different, more enclosed. A lot going on here that's different than the others. We have our recoil spring and guide rod that is separate, and the barrel just locks into the frame. So while it's not a fixed barrel in a sense, it is. And you can see where the barrel locks up to this locking block. So this is the way this secures. So really this acts like a fixed barrel. So next we're going to just bring our barrel back in, bring in our recoil spring and guide rod. And then we're going to be up front, going to check our internal slide to make sure it goes into those rail sections, and then just pull it back. And that should do it. A little different, but good to go. And then we have the Kel-Tec, and we're going to drop our magazine, go ahead and check the chamber, and actually take your takedown tabs, pull down, pull back on your slide, and lift up. And it just comes right out. That's really simple. You have your recoil spring and guide rod here, and it is fixed. And there is some knurling right here where you can take off your recoil spring if you need to, but regular cleaning you don't. Definitely a little bit different with the design, but that's Kel-Tec. They just go to the beat of a different drum. And then the metal part is here and in this area with your chamber, but right here you do have this polymer shell that goes over the top. So actually pretty cool. I mean, it just steps outside the box. All right, for reassembly, we're going to take our slide and we're going to put it over the barrel again, except this time you're going to bring it back, but you need to engage your takedown levers. And you want to get it passed down like this, and then it goes forward. If you don't depress your takedown levers, you won't be able to get it back far enough. So, pretty simple. Well guys, let's talk about price, and we're going to talk about MSRP. So first, with the Kel-Tec, it's coming in at the lowest, and it's $199 retail. With the Taurus TX22, it comes in next retail at $349. Again, market price is going to be less, but that's where this is coming in at. Then next, we have the SIG P322, and this retail is $449. And then we have the Smith & Wesson retail $499. So you're getting some variations in price. So with that, let's talk about a few pros and cons. We have full ambidextrous on the Kel-Tec. It is definitely a different style to it with the polymer coming all the way up. It's the lightest weight. It's really thin. It does hold 16+1, but it is a small handgun. Definitely unorthodox. This is actually steel. I thought this was aluminum, but it is steel. So the polymer actually lightens the weight from it being all steel. And then of course the polymer on the back. I like the sights with the fiber optic. It's not optics ready. And you know, some people that with the screws, that's just a no-go for them. But honestly, these are great little guns, and for 22, I think it's fine. Next, with the Taurus, you know, it's got a thicker slide to it and a very small ejection port, but it tends to work. It just does. You have a 16 round capacity. You can move it up to 20. And the sights are just white 3-dot sights. There may be other options, and there are other models in this as well. Their competitive model is pretty cool. It looks like a space gun. Ambidextrous features, nice slide serrations, and nice texturing on the grip. Then we have the SIG P322. More of a full size, actually just a touch bigger, but not a lot, than your Taurus. But this is more of your P365 texturing. You have your slide rails, you have your slide serrations, nice trigger, fully ambidextrous controls, and the magazine release can be switched to the other side. And it's SIG. And then we have the Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson has a thinner grip. It is a larger handgun. The magazine does hang off the end for those 20 rounds. But it does give you a 20 round mag capacity. Fully ambidextrous except for the mag release, which you can switch to the other side. And it is optics ready, which also the SIG is. And that gives these two a big plus. The fiber optic sights are great, fiber optic on the SIG as well, and then a blacked out rear. So this is great for your RMSC footprint for that small, and then it's just a great gun. It shoots very well, and the trigger is the best of the bunch. The Kel-Tec kind of wins with that super lightweight and with the price. A good medium is the Taurus, but then if you want to step it up to the SIG or the Smith & Wesson, these are pretty close. But the Smith & Wesson, definitely the trigger is just a little better and it's a little thinner. But guys, honestly, all things considered, with 22 long rifle, it's pretty low, mild recoil. They're a lot of fun to shoot. And you do get those additional 4 rounds with these two handguns, which can make a difference. But even 16+1, that's nothing to sneeze at. So guys, the tiny but mighty 22 long rifle, again, low report, inexpensive to shoot, no recoil, great for first-time shooters, great for hunting, plinking, I mean, you name it, and it's great to be suppressed. So having that higher capacity really gives you a lot more options. And it's great to see some really high quality options out there. Whether it's the Taurus, the Kel-Tec, the SIG, or the Smith & Wesson. I mean, there are some great offerings, and I'm sure that we're going to be seeing more. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And the slide goes forward. But then, well, there you go. Let's do that again. That was stupid. Dang it, dang it, dang it. So guys, hopefully I've kind of put some things together. Okay. With elevation, and you can, nope, is retained in the back, I think. I'm not sure. No, that's not right. Polymer, okay, no. It's a nice crisp break. Okay, I don't want to do that yet. Don't want to do that yet.